Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate with the page that you are currently watching on mute, simply click on the link below this video to join the debate and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, but you will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photograph so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is in the live stream now to do the same. Please share the show. Once again, if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I've just finished sharing the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and once again I would encourage anybody who is in the live stream to also do the same. Please share the show on your social media platforms, whatever they may be. I'll do my links and then I'll say a quick hello to everybody who is in the live stream now. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. Simply click on mute on the page you are currently watching before clicking on the link below this video to join the show and express your views. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while there is live, so hit that super chat if you want to support me and the channel. Lastly, there are just two rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, and if you are, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts because you will be warmly welcomed back on the following stream. So I'm going to transition back to my photos and say a few hellos to the people in the chat. So Arwin, very pleased to see you. John Watson, thank you for being here. Ranty, hello, good to see you. JJ, nice to see you also. Hope you have all shared the show. Matt, also pleased to see you. Dazza, great to have you here. Flatastic also, very pleased to see you. Morky Love, good to see you. I think that's probably about it. So if you've not done so already, please, please, please share the show. And lastly, if there is anybody who is in the current live chat that can just click on the link just to check that the show is actually functioning correctly, that'd be very much appreciated. So yes, if one of you can just click on that link just to check, you don't have to stay and debate Flat Earth, but just scrape your mic or make a noise so I know it's all working. Thanks in advance. Good to have you here, They Lie, Ohio. Good to see you, Peanut Clark. You may see me once more. Oh no, we've got the Flat Earth Network. Is that Tim Osman with a Z? We shall see.
Yes, that's me, Nathan.
Ooh,
I saw the link and I clicked it.
Bear with me a second. There we go.
Yeah, just I wanted to give you a quick update on the rocket before I leave here. I'm trying to get a hold of Mike, and by 3 or 4 today, I should know if it's going to launch tomorrow. And so I'll make sure you're the first to know.
Awesome.
From what I understand, they're aiming for tomorrow, but it might take a little longer. We'll see.
Was it 6 miles? Is that it? That he moved up the road?
3 miles. 3 miles down the road onto some private land. I actually called the Bureau of Land Management in Needles, Nevada, and I asked them about it, and they said that it has to do with basically you're not allowed to launch missiles on public land. So, and that's pretty much what it is.
Right. Yes, indeed. That makes
So
sense.
anyway, thanks for letting me give the rocket a plug, and also Joe Rogan's talking about it now, which is a win, I think, for us, and I think you should check that video out. He's pretty triggered right now by Flat Earth. Very sensitive topic for him.
While I've got you, is Mike scared?
I think he is. I think he legitimately is, because to me it looks like a death trap.
I'd be terrified. I've got to be honest. It looks scary.
Yeah, and actually, I'm kind of glad it got delayed by 3 days, because that's given a lot more media coverage. A lot of media got it wrong, and they said it was canceled, and now they're correcting it. Popular Mechanics has covered it 3 times. So it's just all good coverage. And if you heard the interview with Hustler and Mark Sargent, they talked about Mad Mike for the first 5 minutes of the interview.
Isn't that cool that Hustler are interviewing Mark Sargent about Flat Earth? How cool is that?
Yeah, never a dull day on Flat Earth. All right, well, good talking to you, Nathan. Have a nice one. I'll be listening.
Thanks for being here. That was Tim Osman with a Z of Flat Earth Network, formerly known as IPS. Very good to have him here. Hopefully he'll encourage some globeheads to jump on. My daughter can see herself on the monitor. She's laughing her head off. See if anyone else has joined us. JJ says, Rocket Man. Yes, it is indeed a steam rocket, Matt. Yes, that's right. Steam power. I'm Dave. Good to have you. James Richard. Good to see you also. Channel Q. Former panel member. Very pleased to have you here. I think that's probably about it from the chat. Do my links again. I shouldn't I, as I've got the camera on me. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs along the show while it's live. And if you would like to join the debate, simply click on the link in the info box below this video with your watch page on mute. Number 1 rule in the Hangout, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected and you will be warmly welcomed back on the next show. So no need to rejoin using sock accounts. Just go take a walk, cold shower, whatever it is you need to cool off. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. That's right. Jose, Flat Earth Jose, very pleased to have you here. Good to see you. Nah, audio's fine. I just didn't want to. My kid was making me chuckle, but you probably don't want to hear baby noises. That's why I muted. Whoops. Nah, typically, I don't know if you've been at the start of these broadcast channel queue, they normally take about 10, 15, sometimes 20, even half an hour on the early ones to get going, but me sitting here for 10 or 15 minutes with my wife making a cup of tea is not unusual. And they tend to be at the end with everyone going, you need to leave it longer! It's like, just join early. It's only going to be 2 hours, regardless of how good it is at the end. Do I run them at the same time continuously? Not at all, just whenever I fancy it. So yeah, there's no schedule. No, don't end this. Come away from the light. Come away. Come away. Come away from the touchscreen. There's a good girl. So now I just run it whenever I feel like it. Sorry, my eyesight, not continuously, consistently. Yes, I do run them pretty consistently because I like doing them. They're good fun. So yeah, I have been running them pretty consistently. That may not be the case in the future. They may drop down to one a week for all I know. But as long as I continue to enjoy doing them, I'll continue to consistently do them. This is later tonight. To me, Dale, Ohio, it is 20 to 10 here. And we've been joined by Peanuts Clark. How you doing, Peanuts?
Hey, my audio okay?
Sounding sharp. Let's just make you a little bit quieter. But other than that, yeah, pretty good.
Cool, man. I met some cool Glovers this morning after you turned the live show off.
Yeah, was there more people that joined the stream afterwards? There tends to be a bit of an after party after these shows, eh?
Yeah, like a lot of people jumped on right when it ended. But anyway, man, I just wanted to. I don't know. I gotta hurry up and figure this thing out because my wife says she's gonna leave me if I don't quit looking into it. So I need to hurry up and figure it out.
We've been joined by Tim Osman with a double S. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, good. How you guys doing? You hear me?
Try
I
again. You were
can.
super quiet. I've just turned you right up. Couldn't
can
quite hear you. But yes, hold on a second, Peanuts. Can you just try once more? You were really quiet.
As my Bluetooth should be better now.
Yeah, that's miles better. Good to have you here. As you two are in opposition, this is the point that I'm going to go on mute and leave you to become acquainted.
What's up, Tim?
What's up, dude? Give
You doing
me
all right?
give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, Peanuts. I just came on and heard that, and obviously, there's nothing. Mostly the flat Earth that would be worth that. You know.
Yeah. It's. I hate to say it, but it kind of feels like I kind of keep going back to what you said a long time ago to Jaren. You told Jaren, you said, there's no rainbow at the end of this. Um, Still gonna have to get up, still gonna have to go to work. I don't see why making all this hype on the internet is it's not gonna do anything.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hyped up either way, without you or with you. And there's people that like Mark and all these other people that really want it to go mainstream, even though it has 100 times over. So it's like, I definitely advise people, or it's my opinion that this subject is not worth losing friends, family, loved ones over. Put it on the back burner, even if you have to hide it, listen to it on headphones, and don't talk to it about her, or don't talk about it to her, in my opinion. Because this is, I mean, look, if it's the truth, it's going to come out either way. Many people, lose family or friends or loved ones, and I just, that's part of the reason why I'm still fighting here, because I think that there are people that know that the Earth isn't flat, but push it for money or for attention or whatever, and they don't really care that they're, possibly ruining people's lives. And I've seen many flat earthers, that have said the same thing. My wife or my husband, or whatever, and some actually leave their family for this idea. And
Yeah, I don't. I guess it made me kind of step back and think about how much this is consuming me, and then I keep coming to my mind that I want to find that 100% confirmation. My mind keeps seeking. I keep wanting to find that confirmation for this, but I can't, and so it's just driving me crazy.
it's just like, really, at the end of the day, there's only a few things that a little person on the giant Earth can do observationally to figure this thing out. And so that's why people are like, well, you guys haven't changed at all, and whatever. It's like, well, these things are static. The things like the stars, the two celestial points, those are basically static. And so it's just you have to look at all the evidence and disseminate it for yourself. And like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if it's flat or round, because tomorrow it's going to be the same world we live in, even if we figure out it's flat. But I
Yeah,
mean, dude, I went crazy over this. I've talked to people, many flat earthers or ex flat earthers or whatever, and it can consume you. And, it's consumed me. I mean, I'm still talking about it, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. 3 years later, I think it's such a null argument. And really, you look at it and you think, I mean, what kind of hubris, what kind of ego do these people have to think that everyone is living on a flat earth and they just think it's a sphere for some reason, like all these astronomers, all these people. So I think at the end of the day, we have to understand that the observations that we can go and check ourselves do match the spherical model. And that's what's most important. I mean, maybe in a year or two, they'll figure out how to do the stars, the sun, and the moon on a flat earth. And you know what? I'll be there to be like, wow, that's amazing. But uh, it doesn't work. I mean, it really doesn't work. And you remember, there's zero curve. There's, water is flat, and all of these things have been thoroughly gone through and debunked. And you got people like Soundly putting out work where it seems like there's a curve over water, and it's like, what is it going to take for some of these people to understand? There's like I said, there's only so many observations we can do, and I think they've pretty much all been done. So, people are going to believe what they want to believe, but it shouldn't affect your life. At the beginning, it was all about re-exploring the world and epistemologically proving things to ourselves and all of this stuff. But we kind of lost our way in this whole thing in the flat Earth philosophy, where it's a lot of people came out and said the Earth is flat, 100%. And they can't really back down from that, mostly when they make a business out of it. So I don't know, man. It's like you can almost look at the people in the flat earth and see that a lot of them are trying to make money, if not all of them. And the people on the globe side, that's really not to be heard of. And that should be an inkling.
Be sure to hit that super
Well,
chat if you like the show.
this kind of it really hit me after seeing the conference, because
Yeah.
that kind of let me know that this is it. It's like we're in a show. It's like
Yep. It is
it's like we're in a psychological show.
it's like a psychedelic without taking any drugs. Flat Earth is. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
And yeah, the conference was
I,
big. The conference was big for a lot of people, flat earthers and sphere earthers. Mostly when people, I don't need to say too much about it, but FE Core, they had that plan for months, and they want to come out and say it there. And good. Best luck to them. Best luck to them. But people have to realize that a 501c3, you can be paid quite a bit for, oh, I want to go do an experiment. Well, you're going to get paid for it. That's basically what it is. So people need to understand when they sign up for that, they're going to pay these people wages so that they can go do experiments that have already been done. All of these experiments, Cavendish, all of them have already been done. And we can see what Globebusters did with the ring laser gyro when they, for a year or more denied that it would do the 15 degree per hour. And then finally, when they get one, they get the 15 degree per hour, but it's now ether. So these people are extremely biased. They're trying to fit things where they don't really fit. And I would advise everyone just go back to the globe, because I truthfully have been out here for 3 years. I really have not found a globe debunk. Besides, I don't feel like I'm spinning. Besides, water is always level and flat. All of these different misnomers where,
well, that's gonna, that I don't see, I can't go back to the globe, but I will say that I'm gonna have to I'm just gonna have to be okay with not really knowing. I mean, there's nothing tangible that we can visualize in the sky and use a scientific method to make sure that this is what it is. I mean, what around us is that we can use is tangible. I mean, atmosphere. I mean, you know, it can't be a certain method on it. It's always going to be these different variables. Does that make sense?
Well, kind of, but I always hear this. We can't repeat what's observations in the sky, and I just completely disagree. That basically the sky is static as far as the stars and the sun and the moon go, and um, it's quite evident when you do the research, and you can go out every single night and look at the stars and see where they're at, corroborate it with the stellarium or the models that are given to us. And it's best if you go to different latitude and longitude, especially in the southern hemisphere, where there's a whole new set of stars doing basically the same thing that's going on over here, where it really should, I mean, either way, everybody has to understand that the observations on the globe, even Jaron has said this recently, they work. Of course they work. They're perfected over hundreds of years. So if that's the case, then we have to realize that there are two celestial points. There are arc star trails over your zenith at the equator. And so really when you look at it logically, you then say that we have been placed here by God or by some random accident to where we're on a flat plane and we see spherical observations for some reason. That's my opinion. I mean, it's very clear. It's very clear. There are two celestial points that all the stars go around, and I've been saying that obviously ad nauseum, but I've tried for a long time to fit this on a flat Earth, and no matter how you slice it or dice it, there's something really crazy going on if the Earth is flat. Some kind of I don't even know, dude. But it works on the globe. That's just the way that it is. And so I think that should lend some credence to the whole idea that the Earth is a sphere, or we're tricked. But there are millions of practical astronomers that corroborate the skies, and none of them are saying anything. None of the practical astronomers on YouTube are saying, "Hey, the Earth is flat. Look at this. Here's some evidence for in the stars what we see and how it works on a flat Earth." It's all ad hoc fallacy. It's all just trying to fit pieces in and explain things for their narrative. And
I don't. I have a hard time trusting any of those people because they admit that they're 96% off. You know what I mean? So I
what do you
don't
mean?
take. Well, I mean, like Michio Kaku, Neil deGrasse, and also a lot of people. They like to bring up the test where the two sticks and the shadows. Um, you know, if that was so easy, people relate to that experiment. If that was so easy, why can't we do something like that now? I mean, to us here on the internet, that sounds dumb. Who's going to take two sticks? But I mean, it's kind of like you were saying, astronomers. Do you mean those type of people, or is this somebody that like does geodesy that you talk about?
I talk about all of these subjects really, and the sticks and shadows.
I guess
Obviously,
when you say astronomers, I guess I'm trying to think of who you're relating that to. Somebody
well,
mainstream or somebody that
professional astronomers obviously have extremely sensitive equipment. I haven't seen any of them say anything. So then you go down to the practical astronomers, people like Mr. B and other people that have a pretty nice telescope or a telescope or just do the observations themselves. And none of them come out and say that it comports with a flat Earth. They all think that it's a sphere, and they have good reason to.
Sorry to interrupt you
That's
guys. We've
true.
been joined
There's
by James
many-
Richard. Pleased to have you here, James.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. There's
What's
actually
up,
many
James?
scientists, astronomy work that have come to the conclusion the Earth is flat and motionless.
Who?
You got the Aries failure.
The Aries failure test? That it was a failure. And that didn't say anything about the flat Earth. You're getting things conflated here. That was supposedly to prove a geocentric ball Earth instead of a heliocentric ball Earth.
It
And it
was
was
to
a
detect
failure. They
Earth or
tried to detect the luminiferous ether, which is a 19th century fictitious force that Globusters now believes in, basically.
He was trying to determine if the Earth or the stars were moving.
Yes, but the experiment was a failure. So it doesn't mean that it
He was
proved.
that the stars were moving. That's why it's called Aries failure.
Yes, but it failed. You understand that you don't
that's
take a
hard.
null result and say that it's something else. You
Yeah,
say that they were
failed to
trying to
prove.
do something.
Failed to prove
He
the Earth
set
was
out
spinning.
to prove that the stars were moving.
No, it failed
The
to prove
stars do
Earth
move.
spin. It failed
That's
to
why
prove Earth
that's
spin.
why it's called Aries failure.
He was trying to prove the Earth spun. That's what he was trying to prove.
Yes, and it was a failure.
Yeah, failed
Right.
to prove that it spins.
Or I'm sorry, the other way around. Yes, like Nathan said. I'm sorry.
So are you trying to say that his experiment was ironclad for detecting if the Earth is moving? Is that what you're saying?
Not at all. I'm
Yes.
saying that it was you're right in one respect, it was called an ether drag test, but his test was to try and prove that the Earth spins. That's what the test was for. It's a failure because it failed to detect that the Earth was spinning and concluded that the stars were moving and not us. That was the conclusion.
So we take one experiment that was a failure, and we just put it above all of the other tests that we do,
Well, you got the
such
Michelson-Morley.
as the Foucault pendulum, such as a ring laser gyro. The Foucault pendulum does actually do what they say it does. It definitely does something different at different latitudes for some reason, and it does comport with what they're saying. So
You got the Samuel Rowbotham, the Michelson-Morley, Aries failure. So far that's 3-2.
do you? I just don't understand why we take these experiments and put them above all else.
Yeah, but you keep saying all else, but you've only named 2.
I didn't know that I was supposed to go onto a list, and I don't really have a list with me, but it doesn't really matter. I think that there are tons of different
Say
things.
all else.
So
Because
if
you also
NASA is doing what they're saying they're doing, and they have thousands of pictures, they have thousands of videos. If they're saying if they're doing what they're saying they're doing, would that prove that the Earth is heliocentric?
If they can prove it, yeah, if they can prove it.
So they've given you video evidence, they've given you all kinds of mathematics and science and all that kind of stuff. What makes you determine it not to be the case?
No, they what makes me determine that with their word? All the fake stuff that they do.
So that would be a subjective opinion that you think that they're faking things. And that's really hard
It
to
would be
prove.
some sort of a discernment, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's easy just to paint something with a brush and say, hey, this is all fake, guys. Okay. But really, what we have to do is actually do observations. Are there actual satellites up there? Can we observe them from the ground? And it seems as though we can, things like the ISS and other satellites. So, does that mean that there are people on them? No. But it does mean that, it seems like it's purporting to what they're saying. And then it just brings up tons more questions how this very, very fast object is moving on a flat Earth and can be tracked on a spherical Earth.
Can I just say a quick hello to our two new guests? I'm really sorry
don't
to.
know about.
I just want to say a quick hello to our two new
Absolutely,
guests. So
they
we're
do.
joined by P Mars and They Lie Ohio. If I can just say a quick hello to P Mars first.
Look, I'm Nathan Oakley. I'm Nathan
But,
Oakley.
But to
And
look at the text,
and
to look at the
they lie,
texture
Ohio.
in the
Sorry, James. I just need
What's
to
he
get through
got?
this, mate. Please let me just say hello to the two new guests. How you doing, They Lie?
Hey, how are you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for being here. Much obliged. Thank you for joining us, P. Thank you for joining us, They Lie. Sorry to interrupt, guys.
What do you got, P. Mars? A handful of cash?
Yeah, he pieced quick.
Hey, back to Aries failure. Just because Aries failure proved one way or the other that the stars were moving or the Earth wasn't spinning, either way, it didn't prove Earth was a flat plane.
Exactly.
Agreed.
well, if the Earth is motionless, it kind of destroys the heliocentric model, don't you think?
Yeah, it would be then the geocentric model where all of the stars, the sun, the moon actually revolve around us. And that is a possibility, but what we have to determine is that there are planets out there that we can observe that do have moons that are orbiting them. So just taking that logic and saying, well, it's possible that things orbit each other, the moons go behind these planets, and come back around. So it's not too far-fetched to think that we are then going around the sun.
Well, I mean, it's to look at the texture and lights of your living room and determine what the shape you're standing on. That's to me, that's irrelevant. That's
Well, I understand that argument, and I feel your sentiment, because many flat earthers have said the same thing
Hey.
over and over again. How could you possibly
Tim.
look at the ceiling to figure out the ground? Go ahead.
Tim, go back to what you just said. You said that you can you actually observe seeing what we are told is a moon, and then the moon will be behind what we're told is a planet. You're saying we can
Yes.
observe that? Because
Yes.
that's pretty good evidence if that can be observed.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, retrograde, all that kind of stuff works perfectly on the heliocentric model, and some things are still in question on the geocentric, but a lot of times the geocentric model is conflated with the flat earth. When people talk, or the geocentrists or the Christians or whoever believes this, they do not believe in a flat geocentric earth. They believe that it's a spherical geocentric earth. And really, truthfully, there are many quotes by people like Hubble and other people that pretty much say, observationally from the Earth, you can't really tell the difference, basically. Now, if we could do some parallax tests 6 months apart on certain stars, maybe that would help. But my whole thing is, with the geocentric Earth, I feel like, say you're looking at Polaris, all of the stars that go out from it have to literally go equally as fast as the other stars, or there is some kind of a dome or something like that that has all the stars on it that just moves itself. But either one we don't have any proof of.
so you feel
You understand
that
what I'm saying?
yeah, you feel that the heavenly bodies cannot be a phenomenon in which we can't explain. You feel that we can explain it.
The observations of the heavenly bodies have not only been explained, they continue to be explained. There are tons of programs that you can go into and corroborate and see if the spherical model holds any weight. And depending on your latitude and longitude, you quite literally can put it in and see that you're seeing the same stars. So these programs are built on a geocentric Earth, because you don't really need to make it a heliocentric Earth in this case, because the stars are supposedly that far away, and geometrically it's basically the same thing as geocentric.
Yeah, but using a flat Earth map or whatnot, they was able to predict eclipses. They was able to predict the
Yes, locally, when you, like, say I'm in Denver right now, I could take all the observations of the stars around me. I could take all of the observations of the sun and the moon, and I could say that I'm on a flat Earth, because I only have one celestial point that I would be looking at, and all of the stars going around it. So a dome would work great on a local, it would. But nowadays, that we, on a planisphere, that's all they did, was just a planisphere on their local area. There was never, once they figured out, well, you can't fit two celestial poles on any kind of flat Earth unless there's some really crazy stuff going on. Crazy stuff.
I think the heavenly bodies do some crazy shit. That's for sure.
They pretty much just go in circles, concentric circles, basically. That's, because the Earth's spinning, or they're spinning around us.
Yeah, it's as a clock. It's very consistent.
Absolutely. So like I'm trying to say, the observations from the heliocentric model work on the Earth. So you can go to different latitudes and longitudes and see exactly what is, supposedly you're supposed to see. And this is my major problem with the flat Earth, is that we have a working model and we've thrown it out for a dream, a pipe dream, in my opinion. If I told you that the heliocentric model could do 99% predictive capability of the sun, moon, and stars, and the flat Earth may have, I don't know, 20% maybe.
99%.
No, it doesn't have any. The southern hemisphere is completely contorted, and it doesn't make any sense. The northern hemisphere on a flat Earth probably could work, probably could, but the southern hemisphere destroys it because you're trying to map out something that's three-dimensional on paper, basically. We have flat earthers just are cartographers, basically, trying to figure out the best flat Earth map of the spherical Earth. Can you understand that on any flat Earth map except the simulation theory map, which works? I will have to agree, it does work the best. Can you agree that the southern hemisphere countries looking due south at the ice wall are all looking in opposite directions?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so when they do that, they're actually seeing the same. Looking south at the southern tips, they're seeing the same south celestial pole. So that's part of the problem of trying to map the stars on any flat Earth map besides the simulation map.
Maybe I misunderstood you there. Sorry, I did an assumption. So you wasn't talking about the clockwise and counterclockwise, none of that.
No. I'm talking about the physical land on any flat Earth map that isn't simulation, basically, where the southern hemisphere countries, Africa and Australia, they're all, if they look towards the ice wall, they're looking in opposite directions, right?
Right.
Okay, so they're seeing the same thing, and that's why that works on the spherical model, and it will never work on a flat Earth model unless it's in.
In the heliocentric model, does you how you got the counterclockwise and the northern and southern?
We can barely hear you. It sounds like you're talking into a sock.
It looks like they rotate in opposite directions, north and south, the stars,
Yes.
Does the sun do that?
Well, it's going from east to west either way.
Will it draw those circles in the sky like the stars do?
Well, it draws an analemma every year, which is like a figure 8. So, but that would be doing observations every day, taking a picture of it. It's not exactly doing concentric circles like the stars, though. Mostly when you're looking at a celestial point, where the point isn't going exactly east to west, it's actually just doing basically a circle.
Also, if you go back 2 years, Brian Mullins was talking about force the line, and
Yep.
these observations can be taken right here on Earth. We don't have to look at the sky, because I know that's been a big controversy lately. And
well, I don't understand any of that. It's like, dude, do these people not like Jeranism's curvature test?
well, sound.
If they should just be able to, if you have
let me finish here.
Hold on, this
is Soundly has taken his telescopes, he has taken his cameras, and he's put the time, labor, and everything into what Flat Earth has been asking for 2 years, and he has produced curvature, and nobody likes it now. If those bridges didn't curve the way we're seeing them, it would be like, I know David's been bringing up this damn.
The way you're seeing them, the curve would be too small. It wouldn't go 25,000 miles.
Wait a minute.
I've heard that before, but that's not true.
I've been to that bridge, and if you stand on that shoreline, that bridge looks straight as an arrow.
Ask your scientist.
Listen, flat earthers always go about observation, what they see everything flat. So what I'm telling you is, I've been to Lake Pontchartrain, and if you look across that bridge, it is straight as an arrow. And when you bring that back in with a telescope, which everyone loves to do, that bridge curves.
Okay, man. All I'm saying is, for like Jeranism's curvature test, all these tests, the fucking sticks and shadows.
Yeah, I think your mic's come unplugged, James. We just can't hear you.
Have a laser. All you got to have is a laser at 2 feet, right? And you shoot that laser 9 miles. Well, if you can get that laser 2 feet above the ground at 9 miles, there's no fucking curve.
Okay, we've been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Good to have you here, Sleeping Warrior.
Hola.
What's up, Riley?
Yo. I just saw Tim in the chat, so I thought I'd step on because I wanted to catch up with Tim whilst he was on.
Yeah, I was
Hey,
actually
how
going to
you
ask
doing,
if you wanted to have
Anthony?
a chat. Nice.
So when there's a gap in the chat, Tim, give me a shout.
Oh, go ahead. What you got for me?
Well, you've been emailing me this afternoon. I assume you've seen my last message to you. I was listening to the last 5 minutes or so of what you were saying in here. I've not had a chance to hear anything more because DVR is not enabled. And I'm just sitting really waiting to see what comments you make because I'm just waiting to pick you up on stuff. So for the minute, I just want to listen. And the minute you say something that pricks my ears, I'll jump in and just say, "Whoa, hang on, let's present some evidence to the contrary and see where you go with it." So for the minute, I'll put myself on mute, and then when I hear you talking rubbish, I'll interrupt.
I actually have a question for you because you did kind of send me a simulation type map of the flat Earth. So I'm wondering, are you leaning more towards a simulated flat Earth?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean. I don't know what you're referencing in the email. I didn't intend on sending you a simulation kind of Earth. I just sent you an explanation for the stars.
It was a oblique Mercator type map, right?
Yeah, the point wasn't really in the map. It was more the stars over the top of the map. You said the stars are interpreted by the ball Earth model completely precisely with 99% or whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, but it can be equally explained by a flat Earth model. And there's no obvious way of telling the difference between the two.
Okay, so do you not believe in what you sent me, or do you believe that it's more of an AE projection? Because obviously, with the AE projection, like I've pointed out many times, Southern Hemisphere Southern Hemisphere countries looking towards Admiral Byrd's crack smoking ice wall are going to see the same exact thing, but be looking in completely different directions.
Sure, but the point I was making is that you were asking about the stars on a flat Earth map, and how could it be that the celestial sphere over the Earth would be anything other than explaining a globe? And I gave you an example of how it could be explained in the alternative, which I'm going to try and find and stick it on the. And I asserted that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless you got two observers in the southern hemisphere looking south at the same time and were able to see the same set of stars, which I don't believe happens. If they're all that far away, they should see the same set of stars. I believe that one would appear over the east horizon, and then the other guy would not see it over the east horizon for a while, and then eventually he would see it. But by that time, the first guy's got it going over the west horizon. So this is something that we need to address, and it's not something that we've got any evidence for at the moment. That's the video. Okay. That's the picture I sent to you, right?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, in that picture, people are going to be looking kind of a southeast and southwest, depending on what country they're in. You'd literally have to have the southern hemisphere countries right next to each other, almost pointed in towards each other, to be able to look due south and see the south celestial sphere. Or
wouldn't that depend on how close the proximity between the Earth and the stars would actually be? The further away the proximity is, the less they would have to do what you say. So if they found a sweet spot in the distance between how high they would need to go for the angle of the observation or the observer, once they found a sweet spot where it would match the model, then it could conceivably be explained this way.
Well, it's conceivable, and trust me, I've tried for a couple of years now. The stars are the biggest roadblock, in my opinion, but I'm actually going to South America again next year, probably. I'm going to hopefully go and see the eclipse that happens down there, and I think it's important that we are able to attempt to see stars in the sky when it would regularly be daylight, right? So a lot of people, the best explanation for the southern hemisphere stars I got from this guy that had like one sub when I found him, some little Tokyo guy, a little Asian guy, and he said there's like a ball of stars that kind of like rotate depending on where it's dark, right? So I think it's important if we could be able to determine stars basically during the day and see that they're exactly in the spot that they should be.
Right? Well, we can see star trails do the concentric circles, and if you go with the notion that we're on a spinning ball, you could interpret them to be as per spinning ball, but you could equally interpret them to be a flat plane in the sky, and our sky is dome shaped, and that would match the dome shape, or equally be flat. or you could interpret.
Okay, you assert this, but there's no way to model this.
Well, I'm showing you here how you could model it. I'm not saying I have a model, but what I'm saying is you can't assert that it's definitely a sphere because this isn't enough information. It can be interpreted other ways, and you would need to have two observers looking south at the same time to see the same set of stars. Now, if you are going to South America to observe the eclipse, perhaps it would be a really good idea to get in touch with Wolfie 6020 and see if you can do time-lapse photography of the same set of stars. Not time. Yeah, time. No, not time lapse. Yeah, time lapse is right. Not long exposure time lapse, and see if you can get the same set of stars at the same time.
Yes.
When looking south at the same time, and it must be at the same time. So basically, he would be at morning and you would be at night time. And if you both see the same set of stars, we live on a sphere. That would be the nails in the coffin. However,
Nice.
He would see one thing coming over the horizon on the east, whilst you're seeing the thing coming over towards the west. And you're not going to see them at the same time because the ephemeris tells us that. Now, I don't have the evidence to prove it other than the ephemeris, but you can tell by the ephemeris that the planets move like that. So that indicates that if the planets are moving that way, it indicates that the stars will be moving that way. So it would be interesting to see if you could do that and whether you were. I mean, it's not going to be easy to do because you need to have decent equipment, and I don't know whether you have it or not. But I know that he does.
Yeah,
sorry,
I think it would be.
Sorry, can I just want to introduce a couple of people? Sorry.
Sorry.
We've been joined by Gem Panda and Brenda, so pleased to have you both here. If you could just both say a quick hello, that'd be very much.
Who, me, Gem?
Good afternoon.
It sounded I was saying it sounds like the plan is that you won't have the equipment as far as Anthony's concerned. I think that's what he's banking on.
No, not at all. What I'm suggesting is that you would need to have similar equipment so that we could expect similar results. And I think a P900 would probably be good enough because it does do time lapse as well as long exposure. And you would be able to ascertain exactly what stars can be seen by you in one continent and Wolfie in the other continent, or Daz, the cameraman. I'm sure he's got the same kind of equipment.
But how does if them seeing the same stars at different times, how does that help you? I don't really understand that.
Because if we're both looking in the south at the same time, which is an issue in itself, because Wolfie or Daz, the cameraman, have to decide whether or not they account for declination or not, because that's an issue over there. But assuming that they follow the globe model and they did account for declination, you would have to prove that you're both looking south at the same time. And if you guys see these three,
why? I don't understand. Explain to me how them seeing these stars at different times because their nighttime is at different times. How does that then make it possible for the world to be flat?
Okay, so we'll use the globe that's on display on the picture and we'll follow the south line and imagine that this goes the infinite distance that they call light years away. If you guys are here and he's over there and you're both looking south, you're both going to be looking into the distance down here. Agreed? Okay. So you should see the same stars at the same time. However, the evidence or the data, not evidence, but the data tells us that you will see one guy will see these three stars, for instance, rising in the east. But at the same time, the other guy looking over the same horizon at the same set of stars, he's not even going to see these until they get like nearer towards like up here somewhere. And then at that point, these blue stars will be over here somewhere for the first observer and they won't synchronize. And the reason we know this is because of the constellation known as Octans. Octans doesn't do what you guys think it does. So what I'm saying is...
Well, how do you know that for a start? And again, I'll ask my question again, is how does this time difference make it possible for the Earth to be flat? Because you haven't answered that at all.
I'll answer your second question again for the second time. I did answer it, but you failed to understand it. But let me be clear.
All you did was refer to a globe and say what should be happening on a globe, and then make various assertions about the southern hemisphere that you can't make because you've never been there.
Okay, what I'll do is
I'll say the question again so it's clear to you. Is how does the fact that these people see the stars at a different time of day or a different time because of their nighttime being different, how does that make the world flat?
No, it means it doesn't make it a ball.
Yeah, I agree with Anthony here. It would definitely throw a wrench in the spherical model if I was to do that and there's no stars or there was, different stars or whatever. I'm not saying I'm really doubting that's going to happen. I'm just saying it would throw a wrench in the model.
Magical stars appear from? I mean, what stars are they? Are they
Well,
stars
well,
that
this
we
is the
don't
next-
know about? I mean,
No. This is the next logical question, because the only constellation that can reasonably be observed in the southern, that's near to the southern rotation point, is the constellation known as octans. But if you look at octans, 4 stars, some people show it as 3. Whichever one you go with, it's a very long isosceles triangle. And the problem with it is you can't see the 3 stars in any one place at any one time. You can only ever see 2. Why? Because 2 of them are over your east horizon if you're in one location, and the one that's on its own is over the west horizon. You can't see it. You get 2 on the east, but the other one on the west you can't see. Or if you can see, you can't work out which one it is because there's a sea of stars. And don't forget,
So that matters on your latitude, though. That matters completely on your latitude, what stars you can see, though.
Right, but let's go with, because I've got more space, let's go with the North Star rather than the South, because I've not got a lot of space. But basically, if you guys are both up, if you guys are looking at the constellation that I'm going to call crop and rotate up here somewhere, because it looks like a constellation, you're at the same time, when looking due south, the 3 of you or the 2 of you in different locations on the planet should see the same stars. It's black and white, and the only constellation you can observe is octans. And we can see that octans is not visible. You can't see all 3 stars of octans anyway, which begs the question, why not? So the challenge is, bear in mind that octans,
on what latitude? You're talking about Sigma Octantis, right?
No, the constellation known as octans, not the Sigma Octantis, not the pole star or the non-pole star, whichever you want to call it. I'm talking about the constellation known as octans. It's got 3, sometimes 4, depending on which reference or citation you use, but it's a long, thin isosceles triangle. I mean, I could show you it if you want me to.
So you're saying there's no latitude that you can go to that you would see all 3 of those stars?
Correct. Because that's my assertion. That's what I work out based on the ephemeris. I've been looking into this with certain other people, and it appears that you cannot see the 3 stars of octans because there's always one over the horizon. Now, if you can and prove that you're seeing the 3 stars, which I think is impossible, but if you can, let me show you the problem.
I really do. I think you've already answered the question, but the thing is if you go lower in latitude, you're going to see them all, right?
Well,
I don't really understand how you say you can only see 2 of them, and really, it doesn't matter, because why would that even matter? It's a constellation. Maybe it's a long constellation, but why would that matter? What does that even prove?
Because the way it's represented on here indicates that you should see it easily on the same sky. But it appears that we don't see it on the same sky. It appears that you can see these 2 stars, and that would be over the east horizon because it's rising. And then you would think that this star would be somewhere above it, like that. But the problem with these stars is that they're all very low magnitude, so they're very difficult to spot anyway because all the stars around them are a lot brighter. But if you were able to find them, this 3rd star is actually in real world. It's over towards the west horizon, and it disappears as these 2 start appearing.
Is that something you've just made up?
Well, what latitude are you even talking about? You're talking about one observation point. Sounds like
any observation point in the southern hemisphere where the southern crux can be seen, because it's closer to the central rotation point than the southern crux is.
So you're saying that where this picture claims this star to be is not where it actually is in reality. Is that what you're saying?
Correct, and that you can't see the 3 stars at the same time.
How have you determined that?
Because we can plot it using things like the ephemeris to talk about the constellations and where they are.
But you would have to go and observe it to make this claim, surely, or someone, at least someone you know would.
Or you can plot it on a planet using a planisphere. now the problem with the planisphere...
So your claim is, without actually doing any observations, that every person who has ever done observations on this constellation in the past is incorrect. And you're correct, even though you haven't done any observations.
No, my claim is that 2 observers when in the south cannot see octans at the same time when looking south. That's my claim.
That's just you look, this assertion you're going to have to do more research on, because you're basically talking about a certain point, maybe in Australia or something like that. If you go further south.
And I think we're really rather handicapped here, Tim, because we're trying to argue with facts, and we're arguing against someone who's just making shit up.
Well, I do really want to point out, Riley, I did hear you earlier say that the stars, when zoomed in with the P900, give all this, crazy stuff. So do you really believe that?
I can evidence it.
Are you sure about that?
I can evidence it if you'd like. Would you like me to show you?
No, the evidence really shows that it's an out of focus star being zoomed in on, right?
Okay, so let's see how out of focus it really is.
So have you ever seen anybody do a video? Have you ever seen anybody do a video do the same thing with a lamp or something in the distance, like a
I've seen them do it with a
street lamp?
laser. I've seen them do it with a laser, and it looks very similar. I mean,
Okay, well, you can do it. You can have fucked up focus and look at a street lamp, and it looks exactly like that, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Can you evidence it? Because that looks to me like it's some kind of like frequency of light or sound.
Yes, I
being
can
manifested.
evidence it very easily.
Yeah,
Mr. B made a video on this showing exactly how to do it.
That guy that did those episodes of Finding the Curve, Iru. Man, I forgot what his name was.
Iru Landucci.
Landucci.
No, not the guy doing with the Gold Busters. This guy he's not from America, but he was doing the documentary episodes. It was called Finding the Curve. Do you not remember that? Yeah, he actually was he on his channel. He takes the P900 and he zooms into a star, and then he takes it and he zooms into a street lamp, and he shows you it looks exactly the same.
It looks exactly.
I forgot who did that.
Laser as well.
Thank you.
So I mean, he is right about that. So, but I've only seen it on a street lamp. So
But the thing is, though, all right,
I'll
give way on the street lamp. But does that look like a distant sun the way that we're told that stars are?
No, it looks like.
Does anything look like it should when it's out of focus, Riley?
Yeah, but you can see distinct shapes and patterns in there that
No,
are not.
you can't see distinct shapes and patterns. That's a lie. You've made that up. That's a lie, Anthony.
It does look like fractals dancing. I'll tell you that. It looks beautiful.
Yes. I would agree. It looks like fractals dancing.
Shape that you can
It's an angel. It proved God.
I mean, they all look fractal. I agree. That is the word to describe
How can
them.
you actually sit here as an adult who's grown up in the 21st century, surrounded by technology, and mesmerized by an autofocus function? How is that even possible? I don't understand it. Yeah, a person who claims to have been to university and you cannot operate an autofocus on a digital camera.
Exactly the same as an adult.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I just say a quick hello to?
It's easy, Anthony.
Sorry,
Your claim
Jem. I know you want to round this out, but I just need to say hello to the two new guests, Jem. I'm really sorry. Just bear with me.
Hold on, Jeremy. Hold on. Go ahead, Nate.
Earth Flattener, if you could just say a quick hello.
Hello. Yeah, I think the point with the out of focus P900, the point was that when you do put it out of focus, the other alleged planets in the sky react the same way as local bulbs, as local lights, which reason to say that it is the same thing.
Good to have you here, Earth Flattener. If I could just say hello to Alex.
Obviously it's out of focus.
Hello,
I mean, you didn't pay attention to what I was saying.
Good to have you here, Alex.
What he's
Thanks
saying
for
is
being
that
here.
it's consistent with it being close.
An out of focus light is going to look like an out of focus light, isn't it? I mean, if it's out of focus,
and an
you aren't going to be able to. All you're going to be able to determine is the fact that it's
an out of focus star. And an out of focus star looks like an out of focus star. But the thing is that they both look the same. It's the same reaction. They both have those weird swirls or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, so what does that mean? Is it out of focus?
But it's very.
It proves that they're the same thing. It proves that they are both just light.
No, it doesn't. Non sequitur.
Yeah,
whatever, non sequitur, whatever. All right, so you have.
It proves that
you have the gas planets.
They're both out of focus shots.
Well, listen. All right,
they're
whatever.
fairies. They're fairies.
Look,
they're fairies dancing in the sky. They're fairies dancing.
All right.
Hold on. Go ahead, Flatner.
So we have Jupiter, we have Uranus, we have Saturn, and all these gas giants, and they are literally telling us that they are just lights in the sky. It's like a xenon bulb. It's made of gas.
Well, they are if you choose to be willfully ignorant and pretend that you don't know how to operate.
So what happens when you look at
it in focus? Hang on, let me make this point, please. You can be like that if you want to be willfully ignorant and pretend that you don't know how to operate a camera. But the point is, none of us claim that the stars are closer than, say, about 10 or 20 feet. We would all say
you're totally not listening. You guys,
You're not
speaking
listening
of
now.
willfully
I have to make my
ignorant,
point and
speaking
go
of
into-
willfully ignorant, you are totally not listening to what I'm saying.
Well, if you listen to what I'm saying, you'll hear my point. And my point is this, that none of us claim that the stars are closer than about 20 feet. And so all we have to do is focus the camera on something that's more than 20 feet away, and we will find that this will not happen. All you have to do is put the camera to infinity, which is the setting that it would be for anything more than, it depends on the camera, but more than 10, 20 feet away, you're going to want it on infinity. You focus it on the moon or something at a distance, and then you point it at the star and see what it looks like. And then you know it's in focus.
Well, that's only if you believe the cosmology and everything.
No,
they say this is that distance, this is that distance. But
That's
if you
how a
look at
camera
the,
works. It's not
if
about
you look at the
believing.
stars in the sky,
put
if you look
something
at the
in
stars in the sky, you don't know what they are, and that's
No,
the
but you
point.
They're
know that it's
magical
more than
fairies.
20
What does the
feet
composition have to do with anything?
You,
The stars
you know
are
that
magical fairies. Everybody
and you know
knows
that it's more than 20 feet away, and that's all you need to know to figure out its distance.
Yeah, but to be fair though,
figure out
Jem,
the focus setting of the camera.
To be fair though, Jem, the point he's making is that if you can simulate it with a street light that's very close, and we get the same effect with a star that's supposed to be trillions of miles away, it makes sense that the stars are actually
It doesn't.
close.
That's utter bollocks.
Okay, hold on. It doesn't follow. Hold on, Jem. Let me tell you why it doesn't follow. Because if I take a picture on Earth of somebody that's out of focus, right, and then I take a picture of somebody far away or whatever out of focus, does that then mean that anything at all? It just means that the camera is out of focus. I don't understand it.
It means that they're the same person, obviously, because they kind of look the same, so they're the same person.
It's just
Tim,
it's a
It
non-sequitur.
doesn't react
Mostly,
the same way.
Yeah.
I agree.
It doesn't react the
Also,
same way.
I agree, Tim.
When you
it is a
shine the
non-sequitur.
camera on different stars, they all have a unique way that they dance or swirl or whatever, like a magical fairy, like whoever
bullshit.
keeps saying that.
That's just bullshit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not even,
I know you believe things on faith. You believe things on faith. And
hold on. Let's not get all sidetracked on the ad-homs. Go ahead.
How many stars did you test to see if they all had a unique look?
Magic. You just called it magic, and you're criticizing somebody for faith? That's pretty rich.
Joined by Lewis Hackett. Good to have you here.
You totally just came into the conversation. Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Yes,
Good to have
I
you.
believe everything
How
is
many
magic.
stars have
Yes.
you tested to see if they all have a
Plenty.
unique look?
Plenty.
Well, how many is plenty?
Plenty. Who cares?
So you do agree that you do agree that these observations.
Look. I said it's bullshit. You said I'm just going on belief. So let's see how many you tested.
Well, I'm saying that because you've said that in the past, that you believe everything you hear based on faith. And
No, that's just a straw man, actually.
Oh, no, yeah, let's just defend this guy. Everybody defend him because he believes in the ball.
Such thing.
Yes, you did.
No, let's not get sidetracked, bro. Let's not get sidetracked.
No, I did not say that. Don't lie.
No, you did say that.
And I'd like to know how many stars you tested, please.
Zero.
What's the difference, man? What is the difference?
Zero.
Your claim is they all have a unique look. How do you know that?
I'm sorry, I don't have a Nikon P900. I have a different camera,
So you haven't
but it's
tested
the
any.
same thing.
So you're taking people's videos. You're taking people's videos on faith, right?
No. You know what? Actually, I
So
bought
how
my
do you know
wife a
they all have a
Sony.
unique look?
Right, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jeremy, but I hope the live audience are all enjoying the show. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the panel to express your views on the shape of the Earth, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you're currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout, which has been taken liberties a little bit. I may get a bit more indiscriminate with my booting of people, but please do not swear. If you do, you will be booted. If you are booted, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media, and with that I will transition you back to the action. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
I don't understand how you admit that they're out of focus, but then you say that you're determining all of this. You know, they all have different lights and all this kind of stuff, just because it's out of focus. I don't understand.
Let your wife.
The point is that it's a light. and it reacts uniquely. And when
It's
you
a
shine a
magical
light,
fairy
and
that
okay,
talks
yeah,
to
go
you.
ahead, go.
It talks
Yes,
to you.
yes,
It's a magical
yes.
fairy, and it talks.
No, no,
to
no,
you.
Brenda, please, please, let's be
Wait,
serious
isn't
about
Brenda?
this
Yeah,
conversation.
seriously. I mean, seriously. You got it. You wanted to be a magical fairy, and now you are one. So calm down about it.
So anyway, so you're taking a conclusion saying that they all have this unique thing from out of focus images.
I'm not concluding anything.
It sounded like you concluded that all the stars have different light signatures and stuff like that. Didn't you say that earlier?
Yeah,
And magical properties.
Is that not a conclusion?
Yes.
Well, they do appear to have different
Yeah,
signatures.
I guess. It doesn't mean I know what it is. All it means is
Tim,
that it's interesting that the stars in the sky, which seem to just be lights, and if you take the fact that light has no mass, it would make sense that they are up there as opposed to down here. And when you shine, when you put a camera out of focus on a local light, like a traffic light or whatever, it reacts in the same unique way, like with a bokeh, you know. If you guys know what that is.
I looked at a street
That's
lamp, and because light has no mass, I concluded that street lamps have no mass.
Yeah, but Brenda, you looked at 30,000 feet and saw curvature.
Well, that's
Well, you can see curvature. It's all about field of view, obviously, and I guess you'd have to be a pilot really to see that much field of view.
It's not obvious because no one sees the curvature. It's not obvious. We don't know if it's there. We are currently in a deception. You guys want to stick to the globe. You want to believe what you want to believe.
No, we've heard this rhetoric before. Just speak about the subject.
That's the truth. That's right.
Back to the subject.
It's true.
Can we go back to Jeremy's comment that was aimed at me? He started off by saying, how can an adult reasonably believe something in this day and age? Could you just carry that on, Jeremy?
I think I made the point. How can possibly an adult present this, an out of focus picture, as evidence of something and expect to be taken seriously?
Well, it's only the same
idiocy in the extreme.
But it's only the same as an adult in this day and age reasonably believing that we went to the moon.
No,
not really.
Completely different.
Not really.
It's not.
So more evidence that we went than we didn't.
One is reliant
You're presenting
upon willful ignorance, upon knowing how to operate a camera and operating it incorrectly, and the other is based on mountains of evidence.
I can answer Jeremy's question. I can answer Jeremy's question.
It was not being used incorrectly. People just got the point of it wrong, just like you guys are still doing.
So what is
yourself? It's out of focus. Out of focus is using it incorrect.
Out of focus, yes.
Out of focus smudge
That's
supposed to be
incorrectly.
proof for? What's it supposed to prove?
That's what I don't
It's-
get, Lewis.
We don't have proof of anything. It's just.
Well, maybe if
how many
you guys,
times do I have to say this,
maybe
man?
if
You
you
guys,
let your wife use the camera, then you would
Yes,
get
she's
some
amazing.
focused shots.
She actually taught me a lot on the camera. Yes,
Let me
she's
fill in
amazing.
the gaps in the belief here that what they actually believe is that the P900 is like a magic camera.
The P900 is old.
That because it has a particularly good zoom lens on it, suddenly it's revealed secrets of the universe that previously the common man didn't have access to.
Well, I'll tell you what the
That's what they
P900
actually
does.
think is going
The
on.
P900 demonstrably shows all over the Earth by different flat earthers all over the Earth that there is no demonstrable, repeatable, credible curvature to the Earth.
Unless you're Soundly.
I've never actually seen a flat earther video that has zero curvature.
All right, let's deal with Soundly. I mean, we've all seen that Soundly's footage. Okay, so can somebody explain
And
to me?
he's not done making footage either because you guys just keep moving the goalposts.
Sure, but if Soundly's footage is showing what it's showing, and it is what it is, maybe maybe one of the ballers could explain why there's other people that don't get the Soundly footage. I mean, what's going on here?
Are they going to Lake Pontchartrain?
Well,
Yeah,
one
he's at
reason,
Lake Pontchartrain.
one reason that we know for certain is that those people probably don't know how to operate a camera correctly. That's.
Because
I wouldn't go there.
They're quite happy to
Still saying the
operate it
same exact thing.
incorrectly if it serves their purposes.
Yeah, but what the question is, Jeremy, whether they do or they don't, the question is, why is this not curved?
How do you know it isn't?
Right.
Because crepuscular rays are parallel, Brenda.
No, that's curved.
It's
No,
curved.
it isn't
He
curved.
needs to
Watch.
focus in. You realize that Soundly's photographs, he zooms in.
Right, okay, watch. Wait, keep it going. Keep it going, because this is zooming in now, and can you show me where the curve is? Soundly's
Yeah, you can see it curving.
Yeah,
down
it's right
towards
there.
Yeah, but dude, Do we really have to compare and contrast it? I mean, we've all
Yeah,
seen Soundleys. We
keep
live on a
watching.
basketball.
You don't-
I'm
you
sure
don't have
his.
to
I'm
compare.
sure his may have more curvature. You know,
This one's good enough.
we know that refraction has an effect. You can try and pretend there is no such thing as refraction, but
No, we accept that refraction.
I think Riley is actually the one that always brings up refraction and Mick West and stuff like that.
Right.
And actually,
I never brought it up.
No. I'm saying you always do, and
Yeah,
I was
that's because
actually
it's
going to
bullshit.
compliment you. I was going to compliment you because not even really many ballers, so to speak, bring up that.
That's because every
point.
time they do, they get
So-
cornered.
Well, you should how far
so
do you
can
zoom
y'all-
in?
Well, he zooms in enough for
So
us to be able-
can y'all all
keep zooming
agree
in.
that? Can y'all all agree that? I mean, you know, I love Jaron to death. I think he's a good guy, you know, but doesn't it kind of seem weird why, you know, he's having so much trouble, you know, trying to get a right test going? I mean, why is it that hard to prove this either way?
Well, because
That's
it's
true. And
he's
also in this
trying-
footage here, this is so out of focus. Like, why is it so hard to get this in focus?
because he's
kind
at
of
fault.
concludes with what we were saying.
Because he's not
So hold
Soundly,
on,
and this is
Peanuts,
what really
Peanuts
happened.
just asked a question. What about Jaron? What do you guys think?
I think Jaron's being honest, and he's admitting when he can't get it for whatever reason. That's what honesty does. I mean, I make mistakes, and so does Jaron. We all do.
So maybe he honestly isn't competent.
Hang on. But what none of us do is what Soundly does and get perfect curve shots every single time he goes out.
Well, that's because none of you know how to use a camera.
Oh, well, Soundly's
No, don't
got
say
it.
that. Don't say that. That's not true. Let's just say that Beyond the
Well, this
Imaginary Curve, Dogmatic Dell did one observation on his videos, and it clearly shows the horizon obstructing the buildings in the distance. So there are flat earthers that do, including Rob Skiba and the Chicago skyline. They do show curvature. They're just not saying that it is that. They're saying it's something else usually.
Well,
That's true. You're right.
If that's true, I'd ask you to cite that as evidence because I'd like to see that evidence because I'd like to challenge it myself. But I've got evidence myself repeatedly over and over and over again that Mick West claims is supposed to give us results that looks like that. Yet in real world, when I go and do the observation, I get that.
Riley, you
Which
already
is
admitted to
pretty
me. You already
similar.
admitted to me a while back. You said that you took a daytime observation and you've thrown that out for some reason.
Yeah,
and the
you have.
nighttime looks a little more flat, so you use that. So can you
Right.
explain that?
Yeah, during the day there was more atmospherics and we couldn't see the level of detail we could hear. All we could see was a blur. We couldn't see how much of the tower we were looking at. That's
Why
the
don't
reason
you
why
do
was
it during the winter and during the summer, and then you'll get the maximum disparity in refraction?
Well, do you know what, Lewis? I've been back about 15 times and it always looks the same.
Oh, really? Well, I'd like to
Well,
see.
no,
all
that's
that.
not true because you
That's
just said
not
it was a
true.
daytime and it didn't look the same, right? So that's not true.
Yeah, but what I actually said was I've been back about 15 times and it always looks the same. It doesn't drop behind
Yeah,
the curve.
but
of the
right
earth.
before, Tim was right there. You like during the day, it looks different than at night.
Yeah, because of atmospheric conditions. But when you remove
the
them,
reason for the difference doesn't matter. Okay, you should do it during the day in
course
the
it
winter and during the night in the winter, and during the day
Listen.
in the summer and during the night in the summer, and you'll get the maximum disparity and refraction, and you'll be able to tell exactly what atmospheric conditions actually look like because you don't understand that.
No, but I can show you what atmospheric conditions do to objects. Would you like me to show you,
No,
Lewis?
you can't. No, you can't. You don't know what you're looking at.
Okay, so let's
And
bear with me. a sec
that's
while I pull
giving
it
you
up.
the benefit of the doubt that you're
Don't
not
gaslight.
lying.
That is classic gaslighting. You don't know what you're looking at. Come on, dude. Like if you got evidence, you got evidence. Otherwise, please explain why the daytime. I mean, I understand. Okay, so refraction or there's atmospherics, but how do you justify that claim? That's kind of the problem with the flat Earth is you can have a bunch of ad hoc fallacies, but you can't justify it.
Well, I can do it with evidence, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now. That was the wrong file. I'll show you. This is what refraction really is. It's not what you think it is. It's not bending and dropping behind the curve of the Earth. This is what happens with refraction. Now, I've yet to see anything that's anything. I mean, this is refraction taking over a long. It's the whole day. So the guy starts at like 8:30 in the morning. I'll put it back to normal speed so that you can see it. In fact, I'll speed it up a little bit to reduce the time it takes. and shrinking, stretching and shrinking. And that is how I know that the Blackpool Tower doesn't drop behind the curve of the Earth during the day. If I go at night time, it's clear. If I go during the day, I get this wishy-washy rubbish.
I'm not sure what your point is.
That's because you're not intelligent.
Oh, that's probably a really good.
All right, let's stop with the ad homs, guys. Let's try to keep this on track, because this is where the us versus them, I'm a baller, I'm a flatty, really screws up this conversation.
Maybe, but the reality is this is what standard refraction is. We see things that stretch and shrink on our horizon, and let me go back to the beginning, because this is what I wanted to catch with Jeremy. In the Metabunk curve calculator, Mick accounts for standard refraction.
You're not screen sharing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it dropped. You dropped a bit of your audio towards the end of when your screen share dropped as well. But so we don't know.
And truthfully, nobody here is standing by anything that Mick West says. Mostly me, considering I am a conspiracy theorist, and he's said some obviously false things in the past. So I don't really listen to him.
Well, maybe you don't, but all the ballers that are fresh to this channel that don't know the story, they all probably do.
Yeah, all the ballers. Yeah, I've talked to all of them. I'm Anthony Riley. I know what they think.
All right, let's keep going here, guys.
Nathan, do you want to present me so that so it stays on when I get interrupted? Because it's bound.
That's not the problem. Just need to stop sharing, then start again. It just needs resetting, if you will.
Okay, off. It doesn't seem to want to turn itself off. Hang on.
So I'm just wondering also, Anthony. You can look at people that do the longest lines of sight, and people that look over Chicago skyline and Lake Michigan pictures, videos, what have you, and they seem to be showing obstruction as well. So
hang on,
you might have.
In the email I sent to you this afternoon, Tim, I asked you to stay concise and on topic, and at the minute you're trying to change topic. We're going to stay on this refraction one for a minute, and I can explain.
No. Well, this whole topic is that flat earthers have basically taken video, as you being one of them, that shows no curvature, right? So I just said that there are many pictures and evidence that show that there's obstruction due to curvature, such as longest lines of sight. It is relevant.
I'll come back to that. Let me address the point of this first. Nathan, is this working, or is it acting daft?
No, it's still not working. Just try once more. No, still nothing. Maybe drop and rejoin.
All right, give me 1 sec.
So yeah, this is part of the problem, is that people like to cherry pick evidence, and I just did the 20 questions to Dell last night, and one of them is, do we have any evidence from flat earthers that show zero curvature? I think it's very important, because usually what I get is there's not enough curvature. There's never zero curvature.
Right.
So
yeah, but there is a flat earth explanation for that called the angular size resolution limit. Something that ball earthers completely forget.
That's just an explanation. I understand that people can explain things different ways. It doesn't mean that it's actually the case.
Yeah, but heliocentricity is an explanation because it's not proven, right?
I think that if NASA is doing exactly what they're doing, or supposedly doing, I think that heliocentricity has been proven, because we're going around the sun.
Okay, well, if you believe that NASA are doing what they said they're doing, then you will accept that.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying we have to also just completely throw out all of their evidence and say that that's fake. All of it's fake, because what they're purporting is that we are going around the sun. Is all my point is.
Nath, is that working?
Yeah, you're rocking and rolling. You're presented to everyone.
Yeah, you're good now.
Happy days. All right, so this refraction thing that is supposed to allow us to see behind the curve of the Earth, the one site that everybody seems to use, although Tim says now he doesn't, but for everybody else that does out there, they all use this one. Basically, he accounts for standard refraction as 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, which, as everybody will accept, that's geometric. It's based on an arc. But he says that standard refraction, and with it being in speech marks, it means that he's referring to this bit here. Standard refraction is an approximation of the refraction expected under the standard atmospheric conditions. Yet when you click this and you read what the calculation is, the ISA mathematical model divides the atmosphere into layers with an assumed linear distribution of absolute temperature against geopotential altitude. The other two values, pressure and density, are computed by simultaneously solving the equations resulting from the vertical pressure variation and the ideal gas law. And my point is, in this 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, that is not mentioned in the article that he claims his maths is based on. Because if it was, this would be the maths that he's applying. And he's not applying that. He's applying different maths. So it isn't based on that at all. Yet everybody accounts for it with that mathematical equation on the Metabunk website that's based on absolutely nothing. Now, the argument is it's based on the application of Snell's law. And I agree, it is loosely based on it. But in the article it claims it's based on, there's no mention whatsoever of Snell's law. Now, up for the last 2 years, ballers have been citing Snell's law as the authority for standard refraction. It appears that that's now been dropped, because I was corrected in the last Hangout, because it appears that they're not arguing it anymore. PMA's told people that that's not being argued now, but it has been for the last 2 years. So maybe I'm a little bit behind the times, but the point is still the same. The standard refraction is based on arc mathematics and based on this article, but when you read the article, that's got nothing to do with the maths.
So I guess to answer your question real quick is a lot of the quote unquote globers are actually going after the accusations and assertions by flat earthers. When you look at Soundly's video, you don't need to bring in Snell's law or anything like that when flat earthers are saying water is always flat and there's absolutely no curvature.
Yeah, but you haven't really dealt with the point I just asked you then, though, have you? You've changed topics.
Well, I think you know, to deal with that, I'd have to spend some time looking at it and see exactly if what you're saying is true, because it
Thank
probably
God.
isn't. And even if it is, you're not saying, I hope, that there is no refraction.
No, I'm saying that refraction is a thing.
So there is some. So what you're saying is there is some refraction, but you're not happy with that way of calculating.
No, what I'm saying is refraction is demonstrated by this, and this matches the explanation on the maths that he claims his website's based on. The the vertical variation of pressure and density looks consistent with what we're seeing here, right? But that's not consistent with 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, because if it was, this mountain in the background would be dropping behind the curve of the Earth and coming back up, dropping behind the curve of the Earth, coming back up.
Why would it? On what basis have you? Why have you figured that out? Where's the figures for that come from? How far away is that?
Because this is what standard refraction is based on. It's based on 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, and it's supposed to be based on.
Why? Yeah, but how have you reached the conclusion about the mountain in the background?
Because if you look into what this math is claiming to be based on, you have a confliction with this mathematics, the vertical pressure variation, and the ideal gas law, which is consistent with what we're looking at here. Oh, I've lost
This
it
is
now.
just bullshit. I'm not buying any of this.
Well,
how
you don't have
do
to.
you know that there's an inconsistency?
Well, because I've just demonstrated it.
How is this? How?
Right, look,
Anthony,
at
I would like to say that video obviously has some very kind of miraging effects going on. Do you agree with that?
That's refraction.
To make the claim you're making, you need to know the distances of the objects.
No, you don't. You don't. You just need to look at what variables are happening here. And is this a vertical variation of pressure and density, or
to make
is
the
it
claim you're
mathematics?
making that this mountain should be hidden, you need to know its distance. What's its
No.
distance?
We're demonstrating.
You can't say it should be hidden because of 7/6 of the Earth and then not
Jeremy,
know how far away it is. Of course,
I'm demonstrating refraction. I'm not demonstrating the bending of light. I'm demonstrating what refraction actually is, and you can see.
Okay, so how high is the mountain?
Well, is it dropping behind the curve,
I don't know
or is it?
anything about the mountain at all, and you're saying
the evidence.
it should be completely hidden.
Does
Don't
the
know-
evidence match
don't know
the
how
vertical
far away it
variation
is
of
or how tall it is? You see, this is what gets me, Anthony. You hit us with all this stuff. Oh, this maths is wrong, and this is based on this, and this is based on this. And here we find, you know, without having to go through all the maths, that one of the claims you're making is utter bullshit. And so I
Jeremy.
have to conclude, as it suits me, that the previous claims you made are also utter bullshit.
Well, if you're going to conclude that, then you have to conclude that Soundly's bending
Well, why
over
did
the
you
Lake
say that?
Concentrate.
Why say that?
Because
You've
look
got
at the
a point
evidence.
with your maths that
Look at
I
the
can't
evidence.
refute because I haven't looked at it. But why make
So-
a claim that this mountain should be hidden when you don't know how far away it is or how tall it is?
Because it
That's
matches
true.
the description here. It looks like we're seeing the vertical pressure variation mixed with the ideal gas law in molar form, added to these two other elements of the equation.
Making shit up and hoping that you'll get away.
No.
with
Look. Riley is the
trusted it.
king. Riley is the king at red herring arguments. Now, I would
no.
like to point out. Joshua Nowicki has a time lapse of the Chicago skyline, and
Yep.
there's all kinds of miraging and effects that happen. So you just brought up basically a similar video, and you're trying to disseminate a flat Earth out of it. I don't understand. Like when it's kind of like the out of focus stars. Like if there's tons of atmospheric refraction, or what is it, 12% max or whatever, we're gonna base things on when we have the worst conditions.
I'm demonstrating that the refraction claimed on that McWest website is not what we're seeing in real world, yet it's accepted by ballers. It isn't what
I
we
don't
see.
accept.
Can't demonstrate that it's not what we see in the real world, because it's a standard. It's giving an average, and you're not going to see an average in the real world. You're going to see possibly one extreme or the other, or somewhere
Jem,
close to the average.
Let's ask simple yes
and
no
as you've
questions.
just shown us, you're probably going to see a variation of all of them. So
let's ask closed questions, Jeremy. Yes or no? Okay. 7/6 of the radius of Earth.
Hold on a minute. No, I'm not going to have my answers limited by your demands. Just ask
Why
questions.
not? It's one or the other. You can't have two.
Because that isn't how conversation takes place. So please continue.
Right. The point is, this maths is based on, according to his thing, 7/6 of the radius. That is geometry, right? I'm sure you'll agree with that. But he claims underneath that it's based on the standard atmospheric conditions, of which there are 4 components. It divides the atmosphere into layers with an assumed.
Wait a minute. Go back to that. Go back to that thing. Let's see what it actually says.
Standard refraction, which is the paragraph above, is an approximation of the refraction expected under standard atmospheric conditions. So you would expect, if it was, you would expect the standard refraction here, cited there, to appear in this link if it was based on it.
Well, hold on a minute. So you do know the distance of the mountain. Is that what you've got put into the calculator now then?
No, that's not my point. What I'm saying is he's saying it's based on something. It's demonstrably the case that it's not. Because what it does talk about is this: absolute temperature against geopotential altitude with these 2 added elements to it.
This is just word salad now. You're not even making sense. What are you talking about?
Hey, Jem,
I
yes,
don't
he's talking
accept.
about nothing. It doesn't matter. I don't know why you keep talking to these people about anything, because they don't They don't care to understand. They're
but the
just
problem is,
trying
what's
to
happening
stop
right
you
now?
from
understand very well
believing what
that
you want to believe.
Anthony's trying to-
Hey, Jim Panda. When the time when I said that you were that you said that you Google things that you just don't know, say things off the top of your head, it was. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sometimes I Google things, of course.
When you said, I said no such thing. When you said that, remember? Yes.
So
that was a flat Earth campfire. It was called a flat Earth campfire. It's 25 minutes and 18 seconds until Potato celebrates 1 year of being
that isn't
alive.
what you claimed I said, Tosser.
That is what I could. Just back this one up. Back this video up and you'll figure it out. That's fine. That's fine. That's all I wanted to say. You said that you don't refer to Google.
Thank you very much for proving.
You said you don't refer to Google, and yeah, that's how we do it, little by little. We're currently in a deception. We don't know anything. We have to research everything, and if these are the only examples that we have, then that's all we have.
Hold on. How do you research? How do you research something? How do you research something if it's that big of a deception? So kind of like him bringing up Snell's law and all this kind of stuff to prove the flat Earth.
We're currently in a deception. We just do the best that we can, and all we can do is raise the future, the people of the future, in order for them to hopefully get themselves out of it. Because obviously, with people like you guys are an example of how the rest of the world is. So we're not going to get out of this. It's not going to be that easy. But as long as people know about it, they tried this in the 90s. It kind of didn't work, and now it's come back. And hopefully it just keeps going on like that until everybody understands what's going on. We are in a deception.
So you don't understand what's going on. You admit. Hold on, dude. Hold on.
You don't either.
Okay, you're saying that you don't know what's a dude. But then you say that we need to tell everybody. Come on. Well, you're telling some people that it's not
what's going on. Yes.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
We need to tell everybody that we don't know what's going on, so that way we can try to figure it out.
People don't care about what world they live in. They don't care.
Absolutely right. You are absolutely right, and that hurts to think that day by day that's the way it is. But my family does care, and that's enough for me. They can go on, move on, being fucking idiots or whatever it is that you call them. Excuse my language. You can kick me out, whatever. But we just have to continue on this path of truth, regardless of what it is, regardless of the subject, whether it's politics or anything else. You cannot just go blindly and say, yes, all these things are true. They're right. So we cannot go
Nobody's
back
going blindly though. You're actually making straw
You
man
are going
arguments.
blindly.
When I say that
Yes,
I've been to different latitudes and longitudes and I've corroborated the spherical model as far as the sun, the stars, and the moon go, does that mean that I'm just reading a book and taking it on faith? No, I'm actually
It means that I
corroborating
don't
it.
know. It means that I was not there. I don't believe you. I believe NASA, whatever they say, is the truth that everybody else is
But you're making straw mans. I
presenting.
never said that I believe that.
Yes, okay, you can say strawmans, you can say all these things, like Curved Water always says, that's a red herring, oh my god. You know, it's like, yeah, whatever. You can say whatever you want.
It is a straw man. You're saying what I believe. I don't believe that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever
You're
you call
arguing
whatever you
against
call
something
it.
he didn't say. That's a straw man.
Yes, fine. Fine. The point is that we don't know. You don't know. I don't know. We're just people. NASA represents you. They're
We do.
lying.
You
and
don't.
You guys know that, right? The NASA's lying. Do you guys agree with that at least?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
your mic is messed
NASA's
up.
lying? What?
Your mic is messed up, dude. It's just really like you got close or something.
Okay.
Is all.
So do you guys all believe the NASA narrative?
That's
some of these people, Gem Panda, yes.
Does the Magic
Brenda,
Fairy?
yes.
Does the Magic Fairy believe the NASA narrative? Yes.
NASA,
That's
NASA,
the
just
problem.
a weird argument.
NASA is an organization that's been in existence for, what, I don't know, 60, 70 years. And
that does not answer my question.
During that time, it's had many narratives on many different subjects. So to say you believe in NASA narrative,
there's no such
you know,
thing.
it's a trick, and it's not a very good one. So
NASA's a
if
trick?
you've got something specific that you want to refer to it.
NASA's a trick? Or me claiming everything that NASA says yes.
Your tactic of creating a false dichotomy of either you
is
believe
not a tactic.
It isn't.
It's not a tactic. It's what it is. Look,
you're
if
giving
I
people
have,
the choice.
okay, look,
they either believe everything.
That's what it is. That's what. Look, if I have a girlfriend,
they're conspiracy theorists.
I'm skeptical of NASA, so I don't fit in your category, bro.
Look, if I have a girlfriend that's lying to me and cheating on me or whatever, that's enough for me. I'm not going to say, hey, well, you know, she makes a nice pie, so, you know, that's good, right? It's like, no, it's who she is. She's a liar.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Be trusted. Oh, yeah, that's right. It has nothing to do with it, because you guys don't make sense of anything.
They're lying to
everything, literally everything has to be served to you right in front of your faces, and still you don't get it.
No. Let me hold on. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about being a conspiracy theorist. Hold on. Let me tell you a story about being a conspiracy theorist. Okay. So I obviously have been in this for quite a while. Just hold on, dude. Give me a break. Okay. I've been in this for a long time. I looked at the evidence for the globe. I went out. Look. Hold on. So I don't care if you believe me or not.
I believe that you believe what you're saying, but that doesn't make it the truth. You're just gonna waste my time. So
how is that wasting your time? If this is a waste of time, then log off.
Nothing of it.
Yeah,
you're
then
log
off. Wasting your time.
No, you guys need to answer my question. Is do you believe NASA? There's got to be like a general consensus of yes, I do, or no, I don't.
Well, I'm skeptical. These other two believe in it. Okay, I'm skeptical.
I'll say yes if it makes you happy, but I think
it does not. It makes me very sad. It makes me very sad for you.
Your question is malformed.
Well, it makes me sad that people believe that all of NASA is fake. All of thousands and thousands of videos and pictures and the rockets going up and all that kind of stuff is just fake.
It's not that it's fake. It's like the cheating girlfriend. She's been spending time with another dude, and so you're no longer interested. That's what NASA is.
Right? Because the thing is,
it's good.
Hang on a minute. With a flat Earth belief, you can't afford for a single NASA mission to be for real. It all has to be fake. You can't have some of it working, because if some of it's working, it's game over for the flat Earth. So it all has to be fake. And if you think that's a reasonable belief,
it is reasonable.
Then go ahead. But it is a belief because you won't have had time to have investigated all of the stuff.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have time to investigate that, but I found the exact position where you said that you use Google to get your facts. You think I don't have time for this?
Hold on a minute.
Sir, where do you get your facts from? Where do you get your facts from?
YouTube, which is more reliable.
So YouTube is better than Google.
I did not say I use Google to get my facts. I did not say that.
That's fine. You can backpedal as much as you want. People who care, people who are looking for truth, will back this video up, and will go to the
They can do it. Well, I'll tell you what I
the
said.
B-boy Flat Earth campfire. Wait a minute. I thought you said no such thing.
Sometimes I look things up on Google.
What?
That is not the same as saying I get all my facts from Google, which is what you're trying to say.
That's not what I'm saying. You sound very much indoctrinated. I believe you got your stuff from
that's
books
another ad
and
hominem
school.
attack. So
I would never say you get your stuff from Google.
Hey,
I
buddy,
would
so
say I
you're
get my-
indoctrinated to YouTube and flat Earth videos. So what?
Yes, and Google. Yes, that's all I have.
Okay, so you're so much better than us. Okay.
It's not that I'm better. It's not that I'm better at all.
I don't care how.
I mean, you guys just come here and act like being taught by school means something, but it really doesn't.
Right, I'm going to talk over all of you. I'm going to turn you all right down. So, right, I'm going to say a quick hello to Issa. None of you can be heard because I am going to get my introduction in. How you doing, Issa?
Hi, Issa. Issa, even.
Hey, what up, guys? How you doing?
Good to have you here.
I was just calling in to confirm the allegations against Jim.
What? That's not what he said at all.
Well, no. I was agreeing with you. Is what I'm saying.
I didn't say that's not right. I said that's.
Jim is
I said something completely different.
Doesn't even matter.
Google is a great way to learn, period. And YouTube, watching the echo chamber that is flat Earth is not better, dude. Just telling you that. Okay, I've looked at the flat Earth, I've looked at the sphere Earth, and it seems as though there's a lot more evidence that it is a sphere. That's all that I say.
And
as authentic intent would say, God bless his soul, he's been raptured. He would say you have to use your own discernment, and that's all we have. That's all we have.
I think flat Earth is BS.
That's fine.
I did want to make the point that, I really don't care how asleep you think I am or indoctrinated, or that's just an excuse for you not to have to produce facts to back up what you're saying.
It is not an excuse.
It's a feeble ad hominem attack.
Well, no,
he's a true believer, Tim.
Guys, I would have to agree. If I could speak to my brother, my flat earther over here, it's like when you guys were talking about the lights and the idea of not being able to focus in. It's like those things are mechanically accurate, what Jem was saying, and they aren't trying to lead you down. Like those things are factually about the mechanics of lenses and all this stuff like that. And certain things you have to learn to. Like all of us do. It's like, I looked at those star footage. Shit, I have footage of those stars. And I had to learn, like, wait a minute. Okay, this is because of an out of focus issue, because I realized it because I could do it to lights that were close by. And as a fellow flat earther, I mean, it doesn't make or break flat earth. Just so you know, man. Because, like, I hear you struggling with it. And there's really, like, Jem is actually Jem is an amazing asset to learning about this information, brother. And so is everyone here. It seems like everyone's having fun playing this game of, making fun of each other and all the rest of it. However, I want to bring some seriousness to it, because the idea is that these issues don't make or break flat earthers. They don't, for me anyway, they didn't. The idea that it's like some of these issues that the gentlemen are talking about are very valid and poignant. And I just wanted to interject that, because it's not an attack. It's just an attack on some people's misinformation about this highly intricate topic. And I'll yield.
Yeah.
What would make or break flat Earth?
Well, Brenda, me and you have a lot of talking to do. I'll let the gentleman handle
Flat Earth is a philosophical belief, and a lot of people that are true believers will continue to believe it. They're harmless to basically everybody but themselves.
Can I answer Brenda? What would make or what would make or break flat Earth? Two observers in the southern hemisphere looking due south at the same time, looking at the same set of stars. That would prove a sphere.
That's awesome, dude.
It wouldn't, though, would it, Anthony? Because you just say,
no.
CGI.
No, exactly. Yeah, you guys say the same exact thing. They move the goalpost up 30,000 feet, 40,000 feet in regards to where you see curvature. And now you got
We're not
this
talking
guy
about curvature.
Here. It doesn't matter, man.
We're talking about stars. Yes, it does, because we're on subject.
Okay.
You're not.
Because everybody's going to get confused because we're switching subjects for a little bit. Just switching gears a little bit, that's all.
I just wanted to know what would be the test to decide.
There is none. What is your test?
No, I disagree. Two observers in the southern hemisphere looking south
Like
At
you
the
said,
same
he's
time-
decided to
There's not-
believe it, and nothing
There really
will
is not.
persuade him.
There really.
So
the
hold
only
on.
way-
Riley, do you think that you could possibly even do 3 observers, mostly with the solar eclipse over South
Well, no,
America?
No, because one of them's going to be in daylight, isn't it?
Well, I'm trying to think.
I'm not going to believe any of you people.
I don't
If you
care,
guys
dude. We're
bring
having
in
a conversation
any proof,
here. Nobody
we're
cares
not
about your
gonna-
beliefs.
We're not going to believe anything you guys say. The only way
Okay,
would be to
you
break
don't
down
speak
NASA.
for other flat earthers. Okay? Don't speak for anybody else.
I'm not speaking for any flat earthers. We all have different beliefs as flat earthers. So I only speak for
You're
myself,
speaking
obviously.
with flat earthers. Okay, we.
Yes, we
You
flat
can't speak
earthers.
for
We
others.
have the only thing we have in common. Okay, all right. So what I mean by flat earther is not spherical, not spinning ball. People are upside down on the opposite end and nothing is flying off. That's what I mean. Because
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
Anthony Riley just made an assertion saying that it would definitely help out the globe, basically, if
Yeah, it would do.
2 observers are seeing the same thing. Okay, so he's a flat earther. He doesn't
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
the same way you do.
Nobody's upside down in the southern hemisphere.
Australia's
Comparatively, perspective-wise to us, I suppose.
The only way is going to be to break down NASA, start over with someone who has credibility, and just start again. That's it. That's the only way.
Hey, put Soundly into NASA. He's credible.
Well, yo, hold on now. I mean, like, I think what we need to do is recognize what our system has attempted to do to answer all of the observational questions. That's what these gentlemen have done. And that's where I think, to a certain extent, like, we may disagree with some of the, some of the presumptions and some of the footage of what, people have said that they've done, but it doesn't take away from the idea that, like, we have there's other points, like, for instance, actually I've been looking into geodetic surveying lately, and it's like they have countless, like, a bunch of datums that they use, and there is no real accurate presentation. And when you're dealing with models, there's so many different types that, like, I think really if we focus on the idea that, like, take for instance, there's like a military map, and it's each section has its own data points, like, and is mapped out in its own way, separate from the entire map. Like, there's all these other intricate points that I think we can really delve into, and that should be delved into before we go, grabbing pitchforks and wanting to take down.
Absolutely.
Hello
Mostly when you guys could be wrong about what you're saying. NASA
Quick hello
could
to
be
Curved Water.
90% legitimate. They could be. Okay, you guys sound very sure. At least this dude sounds very sure that they're absolute frauds. Okay, I'm not that sure.
Tim,
Hello,
let me ask
Curved
you a
Water.
question.
Good to have you here.
Tim, let me ask you a question.
I think Nathan wants to announce the new arrival.
Yeah, I was getting in. Were you speaking to me or somebody else?
Yeah, you
just say hi, Curved.
Hi, Curved.
Good to have you here.
Go ahead, Riley.
Nathan was just, I think I spoke over Nathan or Nathan spoke over me, whichever, but he was just welcoming you onto the chat. Tim, if we lived on a spinning ball, given the amount of users that have the P900, don't you think that we would be able to consistently, reliably, and continuously be able to prove the assertion of curve over and over and over again? Yeah, none of us seem to be doing it apart from one particular.
Well, I think that there's plenty, and there's actually one called Matrix Decode, which was a flat earther back in the John LeBon era about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
That ended up taking the P900 and finding what
Yeah.
he thought was curve. You might have a different explanation for it, but look, there's tons of video evidence, there's tons of photography besides Soundly's work that corroborates obstruction.
Yeah, so believe none of it.
Hey, real quick.
Soundly is only the latest.
Real quick, aside from
Only the latest. He's the only one.
hold on now.
No,
Yeah,
only the latest.
No, Reds
His
has boats over
location
their
is
curvature
unique.
too.
His location is unique.
So we have about 10 minutes left on this live stream. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video with your page that you are currently watching on mute. Simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the earth. There are only a couple of rules. Number 1, please do not swear. Number 2, if you are booted, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. In a moment, I'm going to introduce Huey, who's just joined the live stream. If you've not done so already, please share the show. Once more, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Something over water or whatever. And I mean,
Right.
this is perfect for dogmatic Dell too. You know, water is always flat. Well, this is exactly above the water at this height, but we take an observation of it, and it seems as though it's curving. Okay, I think that we can all agree that those videos, some of them even live videos, look like there's curvature over water, right?
But why should we accept soundly if you reject this guy? How would anybody that's neutral know which one to accept?
Well,
Who am I
I think
rejecting?
the
What is that?
Jason curve, anyway.
What is that?
That's
Hey, yo,
Pontchartrain.
but yo, even if it, how about this though? Don't like
Mhm.
Soundly's. You know, I'll give you Soundly. Soundly's great. Now, the
But
thing-
but what? Hold on a minute. But I'll just make this one quick point, Isa. But you know, where's the other footage from this guy? Where's his dozens of videos? Because your reason for rejecting Soundly was he was the only one, and now you've got the only one. So where's this
No,
guy's?
my reason
Where's
for
his
rejecting
live
Soundly.
broadcast? So we
My
know that
reason, Jeremy, let me
he hasn't
respond.
got any CGI ospreys on his video.
Yo, Soundly's
My-
point, man. Soundly is a complete fucking red herring bullshit thing. The thing is with red herring, you know, and I don't
No
want-
swearing. We've done
No,
really
actually,
well.
Soundly's
Sir.
doing exactly what you guys want
I mean,
people
it's
to
like-
do. Go make
No, God bless
observations
him.
with
Hey,
the
God bless
P900. That's what he does.
God bless
Hang
him.
on,
What
let
I'm
me
saying
address.
is, like, I don't want to
Yeah.
get hung up on Soundly to Riley, is what I'm saying. Because what I
Oh,
mean
hang
is,
on.
look at it like this, like geodetic surveying. Like, what do you think that they are wrong when they map out and treat 160 miles as flat?
Before that gets answered, I just want to say hello to Huey. How you doing, Huey?
Let me respond to Jeremy. The reason I reject Soundly isn't because of that. The reason I reject Soundly is because his observations based on 19 miles and my own observations based on 30 miles, and I don't get the same result. If I got the same result or even similar
You're
to
not-
Soundly,
You're not
I would
looking
see
at the same
curve.
thing. You're not looking
No,
at the same thing. Do you have a link to that, by the way?
But that's
I've
a
been
different
trying to
point.
ask him
My
this in
point.
the chat.
Yeah, could you give us a link to that video, please?
My point is that I'm not basing it
could you,
based on
Riley?
Soundly.
Riley,
What?
Could
can we have a
give us a
link,
Give
please,
us a
to that video that you were showing a Pontchartrain? Can you link
Yeah.
that?
Certainly. Certainly.
Thanks.
Bear with me. Bear with me
I
while I
tried
get
to do it in text.
it. Yeah.
And as for the 169 miles that I said, I have no idea about that. I don't know if that's true. That doesn't sound very likely because I'm not sure.
Yeah,
how
no.
you-
No, it's
I don't know how you can cite over 160.
there's a 240 square, like miles or meters or kilometers, involved in that planar surveying thing.
It's not planar
200
surveying. It's geodetic.
200 and something square
It's not planar surveying. It's
miles.
geodetic.
Well, they're planar surveyors that you're talking about.
Would it be?
You're talking about the
they're
plane
mapping out their-
surveyors.
Forgive me. Okay, forgive me. From my understanding, there's two branches of this of the study. So you're saying that in the planar surveyors, right? You're saying are going out and taking the measurements for the geodetic surveyors.
No.
Okay,
No, they
so what
survey in
is
different ways.
so
They
in
survey in different
geodetic
ways.
surveying, they treat 169 miles as flat.
No. Where do you get that from?
Yeah,
I'm
please.
getting it from some. So I guess this one video on. It was granted. It was a video on. I'm looking stuff up, and I'll tell you what. Curved. I will have to get a better site for you because I feel a little bit ill-prepared.
Yeah,
From
I
what
was
I've
just
gathered,
reading.
what I gathered though is that the geodetic surveyors are taking 169 miles and treating it as flat, and that means that they're doing that from 2 points. So it's like, or essentially like imagine like an area of a circle. Again, like much like my 600 nautical miles is flat with plain sailing navigation. That's how they navigate. Is that in a 169-mile area with a radius of 169 miles? That's that they're treating all that as flat, as and so it's like two directions, 300 miles at least.
Yeah, it's
Now,
more
granted,
complicated
I
than
will
that,
come
though,
back
with
with some
plain
better
sailing.
paperwork for you.
You're not telling the entire story, I don't think.
I will come back with better paperwork for you. You know what I mean? Forgive me. I should bring it up with a little bit more.
Don't bother coming back. He's not going to believe you anyway.
No, I don't think so.
I I don't know.
Well, myself,
If he has a source for it, I've looked into it as well.
Yeah, you don't know anything. Nobody knows anything.
All right, before we start any ad homs, I just want to say you've got about 5 minutes left on this stream, guys.
Oh.
Well,
I was actually about to get Soundly in here, so I might go ahead and go live on my channel after this with this hangout if Riley and Soundly would like to chat with each other.
So I gave a link to a blog post that debunks the video that Riley posted a link to. You can also find that link in the comments to the video that Riley posted a link to. He shows that it's just very blurry, but even though it's blurry, you can detect a small amount of curvature.
Right, let's just address that rhetoric there from Brenda, because it's complete misrepresentation of what the video actually does, or what the link actually does.
It takes literally stills from the video.
Let's show it. This guy says,
There's no curvature.
I gave you a link.
Yeah. Let me address it. It says you can see here that the image quality is terrible compared to Soundly's images. If you watch the video, if you watch the image, it's completely swimming due to heat. Here's a full frame from Soundly, and here is theirs. You can tell it's somewhat hazy day, and there is only somewhat a fraction of this distance that Soundly captured, even though we see the tips of the towers falling behind the lines of perspective.
Sorry to interrupt you, Anthony. We have been joined by Soundly, so if we can just say a quick hello to Soundly.
Hang on. It says, I'm sorry, but the two are simply not comparable.
Hello.
How can Brenda cite it as a debunk when it by its own admission?
Because there's curvature. Because there's curvature, and that's all they care about.
Well, there's not curvature in it, though. That's the point.
That's the point. No, there is.
Yeah, obviously there's not. Obviously there's not, but they're going to see it, regardless of anything.
You think crepuscular rays are parallel, so you're bound to see curvature here.
I don't think they are. I know for an absolute fact.
Brenda, step out, darling. Step out.
You guys, you really need to learn more about crepuscular rays. And if you think that, like, the one area that you're citing,
you need to learn more about this deception. That's what you need to learn more about. You know plenty of BS.
I'll tell you right now.
You filled your mind with enough mathematical nonsense.
It
doesn't matter what I think.
Clouds is the only place on Earth
what I think.
where
It's like
that is
you're telling me
occurring at
what you
that time,
know.
and the sun
I don't
is
want to know
directly
what
above
you
it,
know.
right there, right then. You're nuts.
I don't want to know what you know. You want me to learn what you
never
know?
will. You never
I don't
will.
want to. Why would I?
You never will. Your crepuscular ray.
You know
argument is
nonsense.
false.
Your mind is filled with nonsense.
You don't even know me, punk.
Oh, punk.
Punk.
Come on, Curved. Come on.
Awesome. Hey, punk. Hey,
Listen
you.
He's like a little.
Hey, last time
chihuahua
I know
snapping
you.
at ankles.
I know you. One time you were getting up and you sounded like you hurt yourself. I know you. You were like, "Oh, I touched the mic wrong." I know you.
I touched what?
Nothing. Forget it.
What's wrong with you?
You are wrong with me.
You don't know
You
who
think
I am.
you know something. You think you know something. Whenever people give
Can
examples
somebody
of
ask
anything,
something about the debate to talk about?
before giving them an answer, you just laugh at them first. You don't actually go into proof or
it's funny.
anything. You
It's
just start
funny.
laughing.
It's funny.
You know, it's ridiculous. It's
funny.
ridiculous.
You're accusing people
funny.
of being asleep and being indoctrinated. You know,
I'm asleep too. I'm asleep too. Everybody's asleep.
You're just as
Everybody's asleep. We all need to wake up. You believe in NASA. Jim Panda, you believe in NASA. You need to
I don't
wake
believe in
up.
NASA. I don't believe in NASA.
Yes, you do. You do more so than you don't.
How would
You do more so than you don't?
Let me respond.
What's going to be the distinction?
I present evidence, verifiable evidence that show.
No, you don't.
That show. What do you mean?
No, you
I
don't.
Is that an
Because the root of
argument?
it,
No,
the
you
root of it
don't.
all, the root of it all is theory. So you don't present everything you present
That's
is based
just
on
nonsense.
theory.
That's utter bollocks.
Yeah, that's right. We're nonsense. What do you mean nonsense, bollocks? Nonsense, bollocks.
I present evidence that events.
Evidence that is backed by theory.
Stop talking. Let me speak.
Well, you're not saying anything. You're saying nonsense. What I say is nonsense.
Dude, have some.
And with that, I'm going to say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for joining us on this debate, and also a massive thank you to the live panel. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.